Hey everyone, it's TV dinner time. Kick your shoes off, get comfortable. Today we're talking about episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Griselda from Netflix 2024.
Yeah, the ending, and we
Yeah.
finally figure out that it does end. I'm
Yes.
assuming there's not going to be a second season.
Yeah, and you were well. I guess we both were wondering when we recorded the first episode how they were going to tie it all together because it seemed like there was still so much left in the story, and they end up having that 3 year time jump in episode 5.
It makes sense because you kind of don't
Yeah.
need to show all that unless it was like I don't know,
Unless they
like
did something like Snowfall or Narcos and they were like trying to have multiple seasons. That would
yeah,
be the only
right,
reason they would do that.
yeah. So having that like 3 year, like she's like on top for that
Yeah.
3 years, and then everything kind of cascades out of that.
Just
And
trickles down to dog shit.
yeah, I was like,
Just
I
falls
watched these
apart.
without Patty, and I was like, Patty, like
Yeah.
it's kind of sad. it's
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 crazy.
it's a tough way to end this and
Yeah.
everything, and if Pablo Escobar's story and all the narcos in Mexico, their stories don't or tell you not to do this, I think Griselda's also tells you not to do this and
Yeah.
stuff because it's tough. This one's tough.
Yeah. Because like episode 4 doesn't prepare you for what happens in the last 2 episodes. Like you kind of see things are happening in 4. I'm trying to like double read my notes as I'm going over this, but um like episode 4 kind of eased into like, okay, she's trying to find her way. uh she's having those struggles of the stresses that are outside of her control when she's like waking up like anybody with a job, but she's in a definitely a more volatile position than any of us are. And then episode 5 just kicks that into full gear.
Where it's like everything that she like wants to eradicate, she eradicates with violence.
Yeah.
And I think that's sadly her downfall, where it's like she was actually, the downfall is basically her using drugs, I think.
So that actually made me laugh because she's like, well, okay, so they showed her son doing drugs first, and I was like, as soon as I saw her son doing drugs, I was like, have you not heard the Biggie song, like "Never Get High on Your Own Supply"? And then to see
Well, Biggie
that lady,
wasn't around back then.
no, this wasn't this 90s.
Was this 90s?
I thought this was like maybe mid 90s.
Maybe.
Maybe the song hadn't come out yet, but still, like as a drug dealer, I figured you would know. Never get high on your own supply. So I saw that with the son, and then when that lady gave her a crack pipe, I died laughing because I was like, she's doing the Franklin Saint, like she's doing crack. Like what? Like you sell coke? How are you doing crack? And I was legitimately laughing the last 2 episodes because I'm like, you're doing crack. Like, what are you
And
doing?
a lot of it too.
A lot of it, and like losing her mind,
Yeah.
shooting her. Like they didn't get married, right? Her and Dario.
I don't think so. I think they
Okay,
just consider themselves like partners and stuff.
just shot the man's car up with his gun. Told somebody to get butt naked at a party. like, lady, you got to put that pipe down. This is wild.
Yeah, and it's like the moment you see that, you're like, oh, this is Scarface.
Yeah,
Basically, like this
yeah.
is the downfall of Scarface, and the paranoia really hits hard.
Oh my goodness. And it had to be worse with the crack because she was. It was like she hit the pipe and was outside just wilding out on people and choked her friend out. Like what?
Yeah, really forced her friend to go to the police,
Yeah,
basically. And I was like when I saw her kind of like around, because of the fourth episode you kind of see it where it sort of confirms that after the 3 years she's there,
yeah.
and she's like the airline real estate like agent or something, airline
Yeah.
agent. And you
She cleans the
see,
money.
yeah, she cleans the money and all that stuff and everything. So like how vocal she was to Griselda to like not get back into the business and stuff or
Mm-hmm.
try to do it, it showed where it's like, okay, where like either she's really convincing or the money really convinced her and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, all right, where the money probably did convince her, where it's like you saw the houses she lives in, the car and all that stuff, and she's able to do all this stuff. So I think that's like the biggest driving force for these people around them, where it's like, oh, it's just the money and stuff. I don't know. The way it ends, and I feel like, do you feel like I felt like the only way that they would get to her and ultimately try to make her think that like whatever she's doing is like the the bad way to do it,
Mm-hmm.
like is to get to her family, her
Yeah,
kids,
and that's exactly what they did.
and that
Because
sucks.
she played the Ochoas, like calling the police on herself because she knew they didn't have anything on her. Like that was genius. But you knew it was over as soon as they were like, "Hey, there's a missing kid, and we have a photo of the person that kidnapped him." I was like, "Oh, it's
Right.
done. Like her life is over." But I didn't expect her kids to be killed though, or at least if her kids were going to be killed, I figure it was when she first got into prison. I didn't think they were going to wait until her time was almost up.
Which also like it really hits home where it's like, oh, they if it was true, basically
Yeah,
this is all like allegations, I guess, or like they waited for her to possibly be getting out
yeah,
and she's ready to go see her family, and then they
like,
take them all out,
yeah.
and it's like, yeah, that's like a big hit to like, well, screw you and everything, because like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting out, but you're gonna come out alone.
That like
I,
did you feel bad for her? Like outside of all the crazy stuff she did, like did you feel bad at the outcome?
yeah, because sadly, that's like the only thing you can do. Fathers are fathers and stuff, and so, but
Mm-hmm.
to do that to a mother and stuff, and I think that's like the whole series is her fighting against being a woman in
Yeah,
these cartels with these drug runners and all this stuff, and that was the cartel's answer, which was very to the point because she was a mother, and it hit harder, and yeah, you do feel for her where it's like, oh crap, man, that sucks,
yeah,
and I think, yeah, it made it worse. But then you end up thinking about what the hell she did in the first place.
yeah. And then she got murdered, which was bad too. But yeah, it hit a certain way. Like when she was reminiscing about the last time she saw all of her kids together, like that part got me. I was like, damn. Like yeah, she did some terrible things to people, but to almost be getting out, basically seeing the freedom like right around the corner, and then to find out like there's nobody waiting for you out there. It's kind of like, damn, like that sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's like the only way out, basically.
Yeah.
And granted, she found the other way out, or the only way out too, where it's like they ended up finding her in Medellin and
Oh,
all that stuff, and she was like
Dunzo.
what 69 years old. They
69.
showed,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know, like Dario, his
Mm-hmm.
her partner,
Mm-hmm.
and and the father to Michael Corleone.
Yeah.
So man, that's a very poignant to
Hell
name
of
him
a,
that.
yeah.
Was probably the only one that was thinking clearly,
Yeah.
and eventually that Rivy guy
Rivy, yeah.
who eventually started to see through like, oh, she's just like high on everything,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that was the downfall. The fact that she wasn't willing to listen to people that she trusted to tell her like, hey, you need to get out of this situation. Like we're at a point, we're at the top. Let's get it at the top. We don't need anything else. We'll get out. We're safe. The Ochoas can take over, whatever. As long as we got your family, we got friends, whatever. She just wasn't seeing that.
Yeah, and she kind of like went down the same like power like drive as the men do in this like
Yeah,
field of business. Basically, like they're just like driven by power,
yeah,
and she was almost blinded by it. Where it's like eventually Pablo Escobar did that too. Where it's like, oh, when they're trying to take away his power, he responds with like exponentially more of his like fearfulness and stuff. Like he places fear all over. And so she kind of did that, where
she
it's like,
tried.
oh,
Yeah.
like you hit me once, I'm gonna hit you 10 times more and stuff. And I think that that led
Oh, and
to
her son should have got shot too for what he did to I forgot that man's name, but
Chucho.
when Rivy, yeah, Chucho, there we go,
Mm-hmm.
with the whole drive by with Chucho, that that was tough, man. Like she didn't even get the full picture. She was so blinded by the power and the fact that somebody disrespected her child without knowing what really happened. Her child was a piece of shit. Uh, and then got a kid killed. And then the son felt bad, like, oh my goodness, I got a kid killed. It's like, you should have been a man and said what happened.
And she was still blinded that like, oh, Chucho wasn't there at the party, so he must be the one
Yeah.
talking to the police.
It's like, nah, it was a lady gave you crack. Like
Yeah.
the lady that literally gave you crack. You don't think that's the person that is trying to screw your life up?
I don't know. In terms of everything, I think the most like amazing thing with this is that the way that they shot this, the way
Yeah.
they made it look, they again, I say it again with the aspect ratio. The aspect ratio was amazing. Um, is there anything else they could have? Is there anything else they could have done to elevate this, or is this like
Like
this is
they did.
this fine?
Yeah, they did great. Like you felt like you were flying the wall, like you were actually watching or like in the room as things were playing out. Um, you got to see how the police were handling the situation since they didn't really have any evidence against her or
Mm.
her group. I think they did a great job. Like the colors were great, the aspect ratio, like the feel of it, the pacing. Yeah, they did great.
Now, in terms of Sofia Vergara,
Hmm.
do you what do you see her doing next and everything?
I think she's gonna do like an Adam Sandler type of thing. Like now she's shown her ability as a dramatic actor, so now she can do both. She can be like, okay, cool, I want another dramatic role, or nah, let me do some comedies.
Do you see like a movie, like she does like a dramatic movie, or like another TV series like this?
Ooh, I don't really know her from many movies though, so I would say a
Me
TV
either.
show. Yeah, I
That's
would say
why
a
it's
TV
like
series.
it would be interesting if she decides like, hey, let me do a 2 hour movie and
That would be
see.
cool. Yeah,
That'd be cool and everything. It would be like it would be cool to like do like even if it's not even like a biopic and everything, but just something that like uses her
yeah,
as
something
the
that makes us laugh. Yeah, she did the
right.
dramatic stuff. She was killing people, doing drugs. Like I want to laugh. Like so that would be cool.
I don't know. I was still on the fence of whether or not like she was the best choice. I think in the moment, like you see how well she did in the role, and I think
Yeah,
that was like the main thing where it's like, oh, she was gonna bring like 100% to this role, and she brought like the anger, the fear,
yeah.
the the motherly kind of like aspect to it, but then that like subtle shade of like I'm a mother, but I still want to be the top dog in this
The queen
business, and
pin.
so that kind of like yeah, that kind of like you have to bring your family into this world
Yeah,
to then change it for yourself. So so I think she did a very good job in terms of
yeah.
like acting in this role. So I wouldn't mind another serious role from her again afterwards. She did what 12 seasons of that Modern Family
The
crap,
Modern Family.
and
Yeah,
so I think
they
she can do
jokingly
two
talked
things
about a
that are like
reboot.
dramatic,
They jokingly talked about a reboot, and then I think she responded like, it hasn't even been that long yet. Like, relax."
right? Like
So we'll
I don't know.
see.
So
We'll see what comes next. But I truly enjoyed this show. Uh, I'm not mad that there was only one season. I'm kind of happy that they wrapped it into one, so that we didn't have to wait another year to watch a second season and have it
me
drag
too.
out. I think they did well. Like limited series, here's something digestible, watch it in a weekend, or we watched it over 2 weeks, and here you go.
Yeah, I definitely think so, and I'm glad they wrapped it up like yourself, where it's like it would have been like, oh, okay, where like they're gonna like show how she gets murdered is gonna be the next
Yeah,
season. Like,
I thought that was
thanks.
gonna happen, honestly.
Me too. I kind of thought so too, but it's like now you're thinking about it, it's like it's a very fitting end to what they
Yeah,
did and all that. Now, one last question: the way that they did this like how they showed the aspect ratio using the color, like I don't know. I'm like thinking like how else could they do like a TV series like this? Like what other genres? Like do you think like sci-fi works like this? Like kind of like using
well,
that.
they have Black Mirror.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that I I wouldn't mind seeing like a sci-fi because Black Mirror is like episodic. If they found a sci-fi story that they can turn into a limited series and have it, I don't think they would use that same aspect ratio. I think they would have a more cinematic, like film style of aspect ratio if they did something sci-fi.
Hmm.
But that would be kind of cool because a lot of the limited series are very dark. So I wouldn't mind seeing something educational or happy.
He
Because yeah,
wants
every
Elmo
like
on the TV screen.
I don't want that. I don't want a Sesame Street biopic. But what? Yeah, I don't know what I want to see that's not as dark. Maybe the creation of Silicon Valley. That'd be kind of cool. Not like Silicon Valley like we saw. The show was amazing, but to see the beginnings of it, because I don't think anybody knew it was going to be how it is now, like the most prominent area in the world, tech
No,
capital.
that's true, and not even focusing on the main hitters, the heavy hitters of the companies, but it's like what what did it look like around like the city
Yeah,
and stuff,
because it
and
was
like
all orchards and shit.
yeah, so yeah, that would be interesting. That'd be a kind of like a documentary or like just kind of like informational
Yeah.
style and everything.
Well, I
I
think
like
it could
that.
still be a docu series because there's probably like because they would have to touch on the farmers, they would have to touch on the tech people, like the early tech people, and then like the
Hmm.
tech boom, and just follow as they're trying to like figure it out, and then one of them hits, and it just trickles from there, and then just the city and the area just changes dramatically over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's almost like following that startup mentality and stuff.
Yeah,
Like oh, I'm just gonna like do this. I'm gonna do this idea. I'm gonna if that didn't
yeah,
work, I'm gonna do this idea and stuff. And
yeah.
interesting. But Griselda,
Cut the
I think.
check, Netflix. Cut the check. Sorry, no, go ahead.
But definitely Griselda is something that we recommend. I recommend it to anybody
Yeah,
watching it. It's a very easy watch. In terms of subject matter, probably it's you know what you're getting into when you're talking about
yeah.
Narcos and stuff. So, uh, but but yeah, I think I recommend this to anybody, and it's a beautiful show.
Same. Yeah, if you enjoyed Dahmer, if you enjoyed Narcos, Snowfall, anything, Breaking Bad, this is like those wrapped into 6 episodes. So I think anybody would be into it.
Definitely. Well, let us know if you've seen all of the episodes of Griselda from on Netflix in the comments, whether you liked it or disliked it. How did you think about that ending? And please like and subscribe to Saturday Night Popcorn for more TV dinners like this.